Well, folks, there's one thing I want you to always remember. Don't ever let MAGA guilt trip you or make you feel bad for calling them weird. Or if you point out how that they're in a cult or they're completely detached from reality and live in an alternate universe, don't ever let them make you feel guilty for saying those things because they're going to always accuse us of trying to divide people and they'll say it's our rhetoric that caused this whole thing. But I really feel like it's our duty to point it out, to call out their behavior as weird, to call it out as cultish, because we're going to be in for the long haul now. Donald Trump has won, and they feel empowered to make him the hero in the story. But for those of us who were awake the entire time and saw what happened, we're not going to allow them to gaslight us, and we're not going to allow them to attempt to brainwash us the way that Donald Trump did them. I can't believe that a vice president elect would share something like I'm about to show you, but he did, and it's pretty funny, but it's also pretty damn sad. Folks, I want you to take a look at what JD Vance posted. Now, I don't know exactly what it is he's trying to say here. He's the wife in the scenario. We've learned that, and JD, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's how you choose to identify, you can come right on out with it, brother. We're not judgmental over here on our side. But there he is. He's the wife to Trump. They have put their heads on a Norman Rockwell painting, I believe that is, and they're serving up what looks like to be a country full of red states. And I see so many people sharing this and going, "We're not divided, we are the majority," and it just goes to show you how ignorant they are on the entire thing. It goes to show you that they don't understand land, they don't understand population. They also don't understand that a whole lot of people didn't even show up to vote and wouldn't even in on it. So I don't know exactly what he's trying to do here other than completely sell out everything that he once believed. Because you got to remember that JD Vance is the guy that said he was never a Trump guy, never would be. But then he came along and he changed his tune and he became the nominee for vice president. He was Trump's pick. And now he's going into the White House. And so I guess he feels like now he has to adopt this ridiculous, over the top, grade school type mentality to connect with the voters. I really don't think that JD Vance is actually a stupid guy. I really don't. I don't think JD Vance is stupid, but I think he sees a grift. I think he sees it working. And I think he realizes this is how now I have to talk to our voters. And this is the type of stuff I have to share because they're only in this to own the libs and piss libs off and make fun of the whole thing. So now I have to stoop to this level. What I was hoping for was a Kamala Harris victory, and I was hoping that we would see people like J.D. Vance try to dial it back and rebrand himself with a little bit of decency and common sense. But instead, we got the opposite, and now people like Vance are just going to lean into this wholeheartedly, and they're going to own and embrace this type of ridiculous rhetoric. And they're going to go out of their way to always make Donald Trump the hero in this story. I want to show you this clip of Newt Gingrich. And the reason I want to show you this is because he actually says that Trump is like a mythical figure. This is like amazing to them. Take a look at this.
Well, Kellyanne, first of all, I think the only way you can begin to understand this is to take Trump totally outside of normal American politics and recognize that he's a mythic figure. He's like some of the people who come out of the Viking sagas.
Yeah, Trump is definitely the hero in their world now. And I also saw where Joe Rogan was saying that there was a whole psyop done to try to distort our perception of Donald Trump. That they went out of their way, the magical they, the media and the deep state went out of their way to create this psyop to make Donald Trump look as bad as we possibly could to distort our view of him. And what I would say to Joe Rogan or anyone who believes that kind of crap, or to Newt Gingrich or anyone who thinks Trump is some sort of mythical figure, or to Sylvester Stallone who says that he's the next George Washington, I would say this: we had our eyes open the entire time. We saw exactly what Donald Trump said, and we saw what he did, and a whole lot of us was not watching mainstream media. When we did watch mainstream media, we watched them sane wash Trump. Well, we watched them normalize him. We watched them prop him up for ratings. And Joe Rogan has done the same. I used to listen to Joe Rogan years ago. If he had someone on that I found interesting, I thought Joe was a good conversationalist. I really enjoyed hearing him talk with people. He would have some of my favorite musicians. He would have some of my favorite actors. Hell, he had Bernie on and voted for Bernie, as far as I know. And so, he was a guy that at one point in time I thought was reasonable. Once he went to Spotify and he made hundreds of millions of dollars to do so, he latched on to this idea that everyone was out to get Trump. And now he's working overtime to sane wash him. Now he's working overtime to normalize him. But I honestly don't know if that's really how Joe Rogan honestly feels about it, or if he just sold himself out the same way Vance did. I don't know if any of these people really truly believe in the bullshit that they're saying, but they're going to go along with it now because they won, and they have to make him out to be this mythical figure. He's like George Washington, and everyone else was just over here trying to paint him into some kind of villain. No, we saw exactly what happened. I said here when I rolled clips of Donald Trump saying the things that he said. We brought the evidence and showed the things that Donald Trump did. And meanwhile, people like Joe Rogan tried to gaslight us every step of the way and show us footage of a peaceful side of the building on January 6th. And I've always said that's about as ridiculous as showing somebody, sitting on a park bench in Dealey Plaza back when Kennedy was assassinated. I could find a picture, I'm sure, of somebody just sitting there enjoying the day before that all happened. We have been gaslit and mocked and talked down to this entire time, and they cannot stand when we give it back. They can't stand it. When we call them weird, they can't stand it. They get all upset, and there are people on the left who says, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. Pump the brakes on that. Dial that back. Don't use that kind of rhetoric." But they are absolutely over the top, batshit insane, and should be called out as such. And I mean, and if they believe in the First Amendment and they're against censorship, then they should just be able to sit here and take it on the chin if they stumble across a video like this. Because if they're free to post ridiculous crap like that, we're free to call it out for the ridiculous crap that it is. But now, whether we like it or not, I mean, politics has always been theater. It really has. But now it sure as hell is. It is complete WWE, Jerry Springer style theater now. And a guy who one time said he would never be a Trump guy and could see through him and could see how Trump had manipulated people from where he was from. He said he saw through all of that. Now he's resorting to that type of childish, just teenage, goofy kind of behavior. And that's what you're going to see more of. You're going to see them double down on this stuff because they know that it gets under our skin and they got to say, "Oh, we own the libs." But what they actually did was they owned their entire base with that ridiculous kind of rhetoric. And that ridiculous kind of rhetoric is going to take everyone's mind in MAGA. It's going to take MAGA's mind off the fact that the grocery bill is going to go higher and that their lives aren't going to get any better at all. It's going to be much harder for them. But at least they've got a picture of JD Vance with his head on Trump's wife. I mean, and the thing is, I've said this so many times, I would not want this from anyone on our side. I would not have wanted to see Joe Biden make a post like that or Kamala Harris make a post like that. As a matter of fact, I would see certain posts, not that Kamala made, but people on the left made, and I would see some that I go, I'm not sharing that. I'm not passing that around. That's childish. I'm not going there. But they're going to go there, and they're going to go there from now on because, folks, that's all they have to offer. Donald Trump is creating a cabinet of chaos to destroy every department that he puts them in charge of, and they will distract everyone with that type of rhetoric, and they'll all sit back and flex. And just remember, I called it. Remember, I called it. When the price of eggs goes up and the grocery bills get higher, they'll go out and buy more groceries, and they'll make videos of them pushing around a full cart. Because if you think I'm crazy, just think back on it. They're the same people that put maxi pads on their ears. They're the same people that put garbage bags on. They're the same people that wore diapers to his rallies. I'm pretty sure they're going to buy a shit ton of eggs pretty soon just to flex and say, "We own the libs." When in reality, they're the only ones that's ever been owned, and they're owned by a guy that they refer to as their daddy, Donald Trump. It's pretty sad. I started to say it's funny, but it's more sad than it is anything. But I truly do appreciate you guys for helping me get over 400,000 subscribers. We're well on the road to hitting 500,000, and I would love to do that before he takes office again. So if you haven't already, be sure and hit that subscribe button. And when you see something that is weird and you see something that is cultish, call it as such.